Wishing you a very spooky Thursday evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Genevieve Rejock with your evening weather. Check out that sun. Not a cloud in the sky. Doak Campbell Stadium showing us 81 degrees and sunny. That sun matches that icon, doesn't it? Wind coming out of the north, 7 miles per hour. Not ideal conditions, but this is seasonable for this time of the year. And those seasonal temperatures will persist throughout the Big Bend region. The only thing I should really point out is down by Apalachicola, 74. Really not ideal for fall, I would say, but we work with what we have. The radar, luckily, we're not seeing any rain, so your walk back from your later afternoon classes is not rainy, but I would advise to keep an umbrella in your backpack over the weekend. But for tonight's beautiful show, we're going to be seeing if those seasonable conditions will persist. We'll also take a look at Hurricane Sandy 10 years later and your Halloween forecast. All that and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to a wonderful edition of Thursday here at FSU Weather. Thank you so much, Genevieve, for that wonderful overview. And yeah, folks, we have a lot of things to look forward to coming this weekend. Halloween. I know all my FSU students are looking forward to that. In fact, I know most of Florida students are looking forward to that. There's a huge exodus that comes towards Tallahassee every year. For Halloween, we got kids from UF, we got kids from UCF, kids from UNF, even kids from USF who come to Tallahassee to celebrate with us and have a good time. I know I'm going to be having a good time this year for Halloween. Huge, crazy events going on this weekend. I know everybody's excited for them. We have sports events happening tonight. We have soccer happening tonight. We have football happening this Saturday. If anybody's going tailgating, we're going to have wonderful conditions for this Saturday. I know we're looking at some dry weather if it's going to continue into the following week. And it really has to depend on that cold front we're going to be talking a lot more about in this show that's currently over Texas. We're going to be seeing how that's going to be impacting us here in the Panhandle and us folks living in the Southeast. And yeah, we're hoping for some great conditions to continue on next week. Great conditions we're expecting this weekend if anybody's planning on going out. It's not going to be too cold for the evenings. I know last year was quite the cold Halloween, if anybody remembers. But yeah, we're going to be having great conditions for this weekend. Hopefully that's going to continue for next week. And hope everybody has a safe Halloween. Hope everybody has a great weekend. A lot of fun things to talk about in the show. But why don't we pass things off to Caitlin, who's going to take a look at our local weather.
Thank you so much, Ali. Yeah, we've had some wonderful weather here in Tallahassee this whole Thursday. I know around campus it's just been absolutely gorgeous. We see that sun over Doak Campbell Stadium right now. We're sitting at a nice 81 degrees, and we've seen that warm up throughout the day as you've been out walking around campus today. We've got a light breeze, 75 miles per hour from the north. And our low today was at 48, so nothing too crazy, not anywhere near our record. And our high was about 83, which is a little above average, but I don't really hate seeing those temperatures come around. I'm a summer girl through and through, so keeping and grasping summer has always been something I just love doing. And our current temperatures are sitting in the low 80s around the Big Bend area today. We're sitting at a low 74 in Apalachicola. They've got that little bit of breeze coming from the ocean. But yeah, we're looking at some pretty nice consistent temperatures throughout the area, and this is something we're going to see over the next couple of days. Dew points sitting at 53 in Tallahassee, in the mid-50s throughout the whole area, and that's just not really muggy or really dry. It's just kind of average, I would say, for the area. Really haven't had any issues outside being like, oh, it's really muggy, or it's not really that muggy. It's been kind of nice over the past couple of days. And looking at that drought, that's something we're going to be talking about the whole show. We are in a drought, so do be cautious about open flames that you have. We have a drought for the whole Southeast and then also just for our area as well. Current local radar is showing that we're not getting any relief from this drought. Rain is not really in the books until later into the week. So we're just looking at those dry conditions, little average dew points. So everything's going to look about mid-80s and dry the next couple of days. Going closer, we see absolutely nothing on radar. So that's just something to think about as you go in to make plans tonight. We're not looking for any rain. Temperatures are going to be in the low 60s throughout the area, so nothing too cold. You don't need a jacket or anything, maybe unless you're one of those people that really get cold in the 60s, but it's going to be nice conditions tonight if you are going out and about. Future radar, we do have a couple pockets and some cloud cover coming into the weekend, but nothing that should disturb your plans as you plan for Halloween this weekend, and nothing that's really going to affect us into the next couple of days. And then for our local forecast tomorrow, same story as today, high in the 80s across the area. Those temperatures are just going to be consistent, and we're going to be seeing feels like 70s almost throughout the whole day, because it's going to hit 80 in the afternoon, so it's going to be sunny and 75, everyone's favorite weather conditions. And then for your dogs in the morning, it's going to be nice. I would recommend walking them in the morning like you would normally do. It's going to be 60s up into 70s. They're going to love it. They're going to enjoy the sunshine and a little bit of cloud cover that will happen. And looking at our beach forecast, it's going to be a great day at the beach, but that wind speed is a little high for me coming from the east of 15 miles per hour. And just know that the UV is still kind of high, so not something that cooler temperatures bring. The UV can still make you a little sunburned. Looking at the week ahead, we have 80s. Everything's looking pretty similar. Our next rain chance isn't until Monday, but just know that we've got some similar temperatures going into the next 7 days, even in the lows. But I'm going to pass things off to Genevieve. She's going to talk a little bit about Florida. Genevieve, what's going on in Florida?
So, Caitlin, you mentioned those conditions persisting throughout the week locally, giving us really some, I would say, seasonable, normal temperatures for this time of the year, and those conditions will persist throughout the great state, the Sunshine State of Florida. Gainesville, sun starting to set. We see those beautiful clouds, but a blue sky up there. We're looking into 83 across the board, with the exception of Daytona Beach, where we're getting close to Embry-Riddle, where our wonderful producer Evan's younger brother goes to school. So he had a pretty nice sunset, but quite cloudy over there, so maybe he should, stay inside. It might be a little muggy out there. But speaking of humidity, let's check out that water vapor, which is going to highlight the storms that are to come later on into the weekend and into next week. But for now, we just have that brown and darker color, really dry air passing over us, the chapstick kind of air that passed with the front that left us just a couple days ago. Florida's satellite and radar zooming outwards. We have just some storms that we'll get into, but overall not too much rain occurring throughout the whole state. So let's take a trip on down to South Florida, my favorite part of Florida, to be quite honest. Miami, we normally see quite a bit of pop-up showers at this time of year, but only a little getting close to Lake Okeechobee, but really nothing too grand to point out. But as we go further north into Central Florida and northern Central Florida, I would say getting into Alachua County, so those in Gainesville, please be careful because we do have quite a bit of rain popping up and some clouds going throughout the radar. So cloudy days, cloudy nights, but nothing too severe. And let's zoom on out to the northern part of this beautiful state where we have just clear conditions, no precipitation going throughout the Big Bend region or even into Jacksonville. And those current conditions are going to follow. Seasonable conditions is the theme for today. We have 80s pretty much across the board with the exception of parts of northern Florida into Jacksonville, as well as our friends over to the east in beautiful city of Pensacola. Those dew points, really, we have those dry dew points here in the lighter colors of green up in the northern part, but really down into the peninsula, it's quite humid, and especially Miami, Key West, 70-degree dew point, I know, always quite muggy. For our future radar, we'll see those storms passing through into Saturday. They'll just barely touch Pensacola, but really just the rain is going to persist as the weekend goes for the central part of Florida. So, Ale, let's take a look at the southeast and what kind of conditions we're seeing there.
Thank you so much, Genevieve. Yeah, so southeast, it's really a similar story amongst really all of us down here. Really nice semi-cloudy conditions up in Charlotte, North Carolina, but clear across the board as you get into South Carolina. Look at that beautiful blue sky. A little bit cloudier down in Tampa. We did see those pop-up showers along the Florida Peninsula, and they do get that Gulf breeze, which just perpetuates a lot of convection, these really fluffy clouds. Looking at that water vapor, we're going to be talking more about this cold front that's currently over Texas. It's going to be moving its way eastward. But for Florida, we did have that dry air just kind of really sticking around over us. It's going to be moving off into the Atlantic as we see that moisture coming in and kind of moistening things up. I know that's a word that a lot of people don't like. But for that satellite and radar, mostly clear. I know we saw a lot of water vapor, but it was upper level water vapor. This is more of our current storms and all that such. For the Florida Peninsula, we see again crop up storms. Again, with that afternoon convection, we have that Gulf breeze, that Atlantic breeze meeting, making these kind of nasty storms that us Central Floridians are quite familiar for. But for most of the southeast, again, just clear conditions. It's going to be a different story as that cold front moves in. We're going to see what exactly it's going to bring. Closer look at these storms. Quite angry over Central Florida. Not the best conditions, so if you're driving, be careful. Looking at current conditions and temperatures, cooler up in Nashville and Little Rock in the 60s, but a lot warmer down here in the Florida Peninsula, again, in the 80s. But it's going to be mostly in the 70s and the 80s, low 80s for us here in the southeast because, again, it's fall. We're going to be getting cooler temperatures, and it's just going to be really nice conditions. Current dew points, drier in Arkansas and Nashville, again, with those cooler temperatures, and a lot more moist as you get into the Florida Peninsula. Dark green, very muggy, very moist. But for most of us here in the southeast, nothing too unseasonable. We are in a drought currently, so make sure you guys are being really conscious about that. It is really good conditions for fire weather. So we are in a drought here in the Panhandle, and for most of the southeast, we are in a drought. So make sure you're not leaving any open flames attended, and you're just staying careful, folks. That future radar, oops, I'm covering that angry cold front that's going to be coming in from Texas. Is going to be really ravaging us here in the southeast. So make sure you guys are keeping your eye on that. You can always check us here at FSU Weather. Is going to be keeping you up to date with that cold front. That rainfall forecast, again, showing lots of moisture going into the southeast, is going to be perpetuating further into us here in the southeast. But looking ahead, great conditions for this weekend, great conditions for sports, for Halloween. So make sure you chin up. We won't be getting that cold front too soon. Why don't we pass things off to Caitlin, who's going to be, again, looking into that cold front that we're going to be experiencing.
Thank you, Ollie. Yes, that next weather maker we're going to have over the area is going to help with our drought that we've been experiencing across most of the southeast. It's been dry the past couple of weeks, or I guess it's been a little bit of rain, but we've been really dry and it's been abnormal. So we're all looking forward to some rain that's coming our way. Looking at our storm outlook, so the rain that they're coming is going to bring a little bit of severe weather. They've got a slight risk for most of Texas and at least a little bit of storm risk for the most of the state. And so that is also going to bring some flood potential because they're not really ready for all this rain. And so they're going to be looking at a lot of rain coming into the next 48 hours associated with a cold front. So looking at that upper level water vapor, we can see that dry line. This is where that cold front is, or that dry air is, because that's what follows the cold front. And you can see that circulation. It's counterclockwise, which is indicative of a low pressure system, and that is also associated with the cold front. So that's how we know we're going to be experiencing this going into the next couple of days. So why it hasn't really ramped up yet rain-wise is we have this warm, moist air coming from the Gulf, and it's colliding or converging with warm or drier air from the desert. And this is going to cause a lot of rising motion, which is going to cause a lot of convection, which we'll see in this slide. So when they do come together, you'll see they bring up some pretty angry pockets of rain, bringing lots of storm, and that's going to create those severe weather outlooks over the next couple of days. This is that weather maker that's going to bring rain and some relief for the drought. And this continues over the next couple of days. I'm going to get out of the way. Here we are. And you're going to see it's going to affect us going into Sunday and Monday. We'll finally get some rain and some relief, as well as drier conditions as that cold front reaches us. And it's going to bring heavy storm-like conditions for most of the southeast. So looking into tomorrow, you're looking more at East Texas being affected by the severe storm outlook. And then into next Saturday, it's getting closer into the deeper south. And then by Sunday, we won't have as severe weather, but we will be finally getting some rain, which is going to be really nice relief from our dry conditions that we have been experiencing. Most of the areas in Texas are looking at 3 to 5 inches of rain, and we're even going to maybe see about an inch or two of rain, which is going to be really nice going into the next couple of days. But that's all I have for the next weather maker. We're going to pass things off to Genevieve and Ollie. They're going to talk about Hurricane Sandy.
Absolutely, Caitlin. So Hurricane Sandy, once we get to Saturday, that will be the 10-year anniversary of such a storm.
Oh, wow.
10 years already. I remember it making landfall. And actually, I would like to say, me personally, I have family up in New Jersey, and I remember many years ago, visiting them and doing the drive on in from Newark Airport into where they live in Milburn, Short Hills, and seeing the debris in the forest. So Sandy was actually the largest hurricane on record in the Atlantic Basin by diameter, and it also extended to 1,150 miles.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Insane.
Sandy was a monster storm, as we all know. It caused actually over $70 billion in damage, and unfortunately, we did have 233 casualties with this storm. And with, again, these losses, it was actually the 6th costliest storm in U.S. history. Sandy did not only impact us here in the U.S., it actually made landfall in Jamaica, Cuba, and again, here in New Jersey. It was just a really unfortunate storm.
Absolutely. So you're talking about Cuba. Just before it was about to make landfall in Cuba, that's when it reached a Category 3 storm, making it a major hurricane. And it generated the highest amount of storm tide and storm surge on record in New York, up to 14 feet. I remember talking about Ian just a couple weeks ago where we were seeing up to 9 feet. So for it to be so much more than that is something really unfathomable.
I know, and again, this is just one of those cases of a storm that a lot of folks won't take seriously because it's not a Category 5, but again, with these large, massive storms, they can just cause so much damage. Many locations received over 7 inches of rain. Can you imagine that? That is just insane for people and for homeowners. And also, because it was so far north, it wasn't just rain that fell. We had snow, actually, had a snowy side, and portions of West Virginia and North Carolina received up to 36 inches of snow. Can you imagine trekking through that snow after one of the worst hurricanes you'd ever experienced?
I cannot, but I can only hope that those people were prepared enough, staying weather aware, which is something we always need to do. No matter the storm, whether it's the biggest in diameter or a small storm, we always need to be cautious and prepare as best as we can. But for now, we'll send it off to Caitlin with the tropics. Some more rain.
Thank you, Genevieve. Yeah, so we are still, even though it feels like fall and we've been drinking lots of pumpkin spice, tropics are still something we need to look out for as we go into the next couple of days. We've got 2 disturbances, one sitting closer to Bermuda and one affecting the Caribbean, and we're going to just kind of dive into and see what these are going to do. So this one's kind of a fish storm. It is a little bit of a risk for Bermuda, but it's not really looking like much formation is going to happen, but development is still possible over the next 48 hours and into 5 days. And our next disturbance is not have any chance for the next 40 hours, but also has a chance for the next 5 days. This one is going to affect most of the Caribbean, bringing lots and lots of rain to that area. And so just to give a closer look at the one in the Caribbean, we can tell it doesn't have a lot going on. It's really, really disorganized, which is why that had 0% chance for the next 48 hours, because it doesn't really have a lot of organization happening. It's just bringing lots and lots of rain for that area. And also, the reason it has a 40% chance for the next 5 days is it's really going into some warm water. And that's going to be what we're looking out for. So if it does start to get organized, it is entering some really warm water, which is a recipe for really big and strong storms. So that's something we're going to look out for. The fish storm up here, though, it's going to be going into some cooler water. And then that's why we're unsure if it's going to do much over the next 48 hours to 5 days. But it will still probably bring rain to Bermuda, so those guys should be on the lookout for that. But it is going to be going into cooler water, which is going to affect how strong it is. And also, another thing limiting both of these storms is we've got that dry air right over here, and that's going to help it not get too crazy. Dry air kind of hinders the development of storms because you can't have as much convection. And so with the one that's bringing a lot of rain, it's just going to kind of sit because it can't really move over the dry air. So it's going to sit and bring lots of rain in the Caribbean. And our one up there during this area, it also is going to be affected by that dry air that's moving in that area. Just to look at that rain, like I said, it's going to sit and just kind of dump lots and lots of rain into the Caribbean over the next 48 hours. That's what we're really going to be looking for with this storm. And so as it goes into the warmer water, but the drier air, we're not really banking on it being anything too crazy. And looking at that rainfall forecast, yeah, it's going to have a lot of rain associated with it. We've got probably some areas getting about 5 inches, but most of the areas at least getting 2 to 3 inches of rain due to this storm. And though it's disorganized and it might not build anything too crazy, it is something we should look out for this area as they experience all this rain that's coming. Though if it does get bigger, it will be named Lisa, and then the next one will be named Martin. So that's something kind of funny to look forward to. Hurricane Lisa would be kind of an interesting name for a storm, but we don't know if it's going to do all that just yet. And just as we always do, hurricane season does run through November. So make sure you're assembling and replenishing your disaster supplies. Don't think fall is just here and so hurricanes are over. And also prepare your home and get an insurance checkup. These are all things that we should be doing to get storm ready and prepared even as we approach November and December. But Genevieve, what are we going to talk about for Halloween? Because that's like the next thing that's coming up.
That absolutely is, Caitlin. Halloween, Halloween, Talloweekend is what we're here for. I know everyone at FSU, there's nothing they're more passionate about than football and Halloween. So let's get into those conditions so that we can provide you with the best forecast for that whole weekend and into the week. Here, we're seeing some anomalies laid beneath the temperatures for the whole national map. Some anomalies there in Texas, but Tallahassee, Big Bend region, we're looking pretty nice for Saturday. Nothing too off from normal. Like I said earlier in the show, seasonable conditions for this time of the year. And though it is fall, I mean, I would say it is quite warm. But apparently, I learned today that that is not true. It's actually normal. And for Sunday, so the night before Halloween, Halloween Eve, we're seeing some pretty standard conditions throughout. We're looking into the 70s down throughout the state, and really the only cooler areas are up towards the north into the northern plains, and warmer anomalies, so really much warmer temperatures than normal into those northern plains as we head into Halloween. So maybe, you know, try and stay inside for as long as you can on Halloween day if you do happen to be up there in North Dakota. So let's look at that radar as we see really many low pressure systems bringing rain to the eastern part of the country, as well as some rain always hitting the Pacific Northwest as it does. But Saturday, game day, Georgia Tech, I will hopefully be there, will be pretty nice. Can't rule out any chance of rain because we do have 10%. And Monday, Halloween, spooky. I know it's a Monday, but that does not stop FSU, UF, USF, everywhere that Ale mentioned earlier in the show, that does not stop them from going out to have fun. Your trick-or-treat forecast into the late hours, we're seeing no chance of rain, really nice conditions. I will say it could be a little warm, but overnight on Halloween day, it will be 56 degrees, so maybe layer up if you do have that little less fabric covering you and that outlook. Let's see. We really have warm conditions persisting, but for now, we'll pass things off to Ale with our lifestyle. What else is going on locally?
Yeah, so I know Halloween is a big thing for us folks here in FSU, but we do have a lot of things happening this weekend, but right now we're going to be looking at these beautiful conditions we've been seeing throughout the southeast and for us here in Tallahassee. So airport delays, we actually do have really nice conditions currently. It's sunny, 81, no delays likely, again with those clear skies, clear conditions we've been seeing. It's just going to be really nice if you're flying today. It is a similar story for most of us here in the United States. It seems like everywhere it's just really nice conditions, even if it's a little bit cloudier. I know Orlando's seeing some storms, but really no delays to be expected for really anybody in the United States currently. If you are going out tonight to our number 5 women's soccer team, we're playing Virginia Tech. Hopefully we get a dub. It is going to be really nice conditions, 75 down to 62 around 11 p.m. A great energy there. Make sure you bring a jacket because it will be chilly. 62 is definitely chilly for us Floridians. If you're going to be staying inside or maybe going out to College Town and checking out Thursday night football, the Ravens versus the Buccaneers, it's going to be nice in Tampa, 77, 73 around 12 a.m. when it's expected to finish. It's going to be a late game, but great conditions, no delays expected for any folks who are expecting some Thursday night football. If you're going out tonight, starting Halloween early tonight in College Town, going to be 62 well into the night, so not too cold. I honestly would bring a jacket, but if you don't want to ruin your outfit, I bet you could push through. If you're going to the res, it's going to be 82. Great day to go out, be on the water, maybe sunbathe, not too hot, partly cloudy with a nice breeze of 7 miles per hour. So if you're going sailing like these folks are in the picture, it's going to be really nice to go out and be on the water. If you're going to softball this Friday against Northwest Florida State, great conditions, definitely warm at 5 p.m. at 80, but it's going to cool down to around 70. So make sure you dress in layers if you're somebody who gets cold easily. If you're looking at our great Florida State football team, we're playing Georgia Tech this weekend. It's going to be a little bit toasty. Make sure you bring your sunscreen, but it's going to be just great conditions for us sports fans this weekend. And looking at the weekend forecast ahead, if you're going out this weekend, it's going to be great. 82 across the board, 60s across the board, and we're going to have a great Halloween weekend. Now, why don't we pass things off to Genevieve, who's going to give us a last look at our local.
So let's head back locally. Let's do it. We see that sun peeking through. I'm sure it wants to wear a costume for Halloween. I'm sure it's looking forward to it. But Doak Campbell Stadium, I wish we could dress the stadium up, put something, but it is as beautiful as it is already. 81 degrees, mostly sunny. The wind's not helping too much. We only have winds coming out of the north at 7 miles per hour. So really kind of warm for me personally, though it is a nice change from what we were seeing last week, where I personally was freezing my tail off. Current conditions for the Big Bend region, we have that 81 there in Tallahassee. Apalachicola getting slightly cooler, 74 degrees, but we're looking into the upper 70s, low 80s throughout the region. And for our current local radar, we're quite lucky as per now compared to those places such as Texas, which is really getting pounded with rain. Luckily for us, we don't see anything, nothing. And our future radar, we'll see our clouds start coming in, some pop-up showers near Monticello and into Thomasville, but really nothing to be too concerned with. And for tonight in Tally, it'll be 60 degrees, so really nice conditions, and really nice conditions to persist throughout the week, 82 on game day. And Caitlin, how about you wrap us up for this beautiful show?
Yeah, thank you so much, Genevieve. I think this next week is going to just be beautiful. We've got temperatures in the 80s with lows in the 60s. That's just going to be wonderful. And as we go into such an eventful weekend, that's going to be nice weather to follow up for everyone's plans. So no one's going to get kind of bummed out. Because I know Halloween is a huge deal here in Tallahassee when people kind of exodus to here and they have a really good time. It's just one of those places that everyone loves to come and celebrate. But the things that we have going on this weekend, not just Halloween, include our football game against Georgia Tech, which I hope that we can pull a win for after we've had those 3 kind of sad losses and after a really lonely bye week. I'm excited about some more FSU football. It's also FAMU's homecoming this weekend. I don't know if we have any FAMU viewers, but I've been talking to them. They're all really excited as well. Their game's at 4, so I don't know if we watch our game and we get bummed if we lose. Then we can watch FAMU's homecoming game, because that would be fun. But you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather. You can like us on Facebook also at facebook.com/FSU weather. And you can watch us live on YouTube like you might be doing now at youtube.com/FSU weather. And then you can also follow us on Instagram and send us your cool pictures you have of any clouds or any weather things. We would love to see those. But we're going to pass things off to Ollie at the wall to just close our show.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. So I'm going to leave you guys with a nice look at our 7-day forecast. We're going to be experiencing some really nice conditions for this weekend, especially for Halloween. 80s across the board, cooling down a little bit into the week as we get into 54s, 56, 55 for those lows. But again, beautiful conditions. Expecting some rain on Monday, but hopefully that won't be ruining our Halloween vibe. But I'm student meteorologist Alejandra Garcia, and I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and a fantastic Halloween.